Boom. I'm going to hell, so let's talk about it.
I'm fine. It's an oversimplification, cause I'm really contemplating. I just haven't picked the day yet. I'm fine. Just don't ask me to elaborate, cause I don't really know what I'm supposed to say. I'm fine.
I didn't tell Darren what I was talking about today, just because I didn't think about it until like really early this morning, and I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm not winging it. I did that last week, and obviously we all saw how that turned out, and I would say not good. Yeah, last week's episode, not my fave. Never doing that again. However, guys, look at my shirt. Look at my shirt. Isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? I don't know if you can see it in the, there. Look at the shirt. All right. This is from Darren with his new song, Fine, which is also my intro song. Guys, go and stream it anywhere that you get your music. Right? Okay. Yeah. So make sure you go stream that song. We're trying to blow it up. So far, I think it's kind of working. I don't know. I'm playing it a lot. So that's all that matters. All right. So I know it has kind of been a while. As I said, I posted last week, even though I recorded that like 2 weeks prior to that. A lot of stuff has been going on in my life. First of all, I broke my foot. That was not fun. I broke a small bone in my foot. Then I got a speeding ticket. And then I got then a light fixture fell on me at work. It just fell from the ceiling onto me. I didn't get hurt. It didn't like hit my head. It just like kind of like hit my hand. Like I was just chilling at my computer and all of a sudden crash. So that was cool. Then the next day I got dumped. I wasn't really dating anybody. I mean, like we weren't like officially like together. I'm still going to consider it being dumped, though, just because, you know, good reasons. He had good reasons, so I'm not going to, like, give him shit or talk shit about him on the internet. He's cool, and we're cool. I don't know if he knows that we're cool, though, but we're cool. I probably should let him know that, to be honest. Like, we're still friends and stuff, so. But, yeah, so that's just been my week. I rewarded myself with a shitty week with these awesome-ass sunglasses. They're a trip, honestly. I keep looking through the bottom right here, and it's really freaking me out. So, yeah. And I can't see anything, and everything that I can see is red. So I'm living in a horror film right now. But yeah, so there's a little update on my life. Today I'm going to talk about my religious views, I guess you should call it. 'Cause I don't have any, but anymore. I guess I'm talking about what led me up to being an atheist. Atheist, maybe not an atheist. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out while we're talking today. However, if you know me, then you know that I went to private school from pre-K until 8th grade. That shit sucked. You know, pre-K, whatever. I don't even remember pre-K. But from like kindergarten to 4th grade, I went to Lutheran school, you know, ugh. And then from 5th grade to 8th grade, I went to Catholic school. Fun fact, my family's not Catholic. Just letting you guys know. I'm not Catholic. I was confirmed Lutheran. It's just a really weird thing, I guess. Yeah, no, so I'm not Catholic, so it's a little weird how I ended up at Catholic school. I think it's a little weird how I ended up at private school in the first place. I had a conversation with my dad probably like a year ago. He was mad at me during this conversation. But this conversation went like, I posted something on Facebook, of course, and I think it was about like being sad or depressed or whatever, because like me and Brendan had broken up, but we were still like kind of together, and it was weird, and it was just really weird. Posted something really depressing on Facebook probably, and people kept telling me to think positive and pray. And then somebody was like, look up this gospel and blah, 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 blah. And I was finally getting so sick of people being like, think positive and pray to God and read the Bible. You know, I posted again on Facebook, please stop pushing your religious views on me. And that just went on a whole thing. on Facebook, like people commenting, people disagreeing with me, end up with my dad texting me saying like, you just disrespected your entire family. Because in my comments, I kept saying how I was forced to go to private school my whole life and that I didn't agree with the morals and values of Christianity, Catholicism in, to be specific, and a bunch of other things. And my dad told me, we're not even overly religious. We sent you to private school for the morals and values. And I literally am like, what morals and values are you talking about? Sorry, Jeffrey. I'm not trying to call you out, but you don't watch my show anyways, so who cares? But yeah, so started off going to which school? I went to technically three different private schools. I went to St. Matthew's in Janesville, Wisconsin. I went there for pre-K. My parents didn't want to continue going there because they did not agree with Wisconsin Synod Lutheran practices and beliefs. I don't know much about it except that women do not have a say in anything. And if you guys know my mom, that's not going to fly. So, they didn't agree with that anyways. So we went to St. Paul's. St. Paul's, from what I can remember, was okay, except that everybody bullied me that I can remember. And that I was like always picked last for like gym class stuff and nobody wanted to hang out with me, or, people didn't like me. I don't know why, but whatever. So that's traumatizing in itself. Then I had a teacher, my 4th grade teacher. I'm not going to name drop because I don't need to. That's kind of rude. I would have had it bleeped out anyways, but whatever. But had my 4th grade teacher, was just horrible. Hated her. And then we moved over to the Catholic school. So right now I'm going to start off with like K through 4th grade. Yeah, from what I can remember, it really wasn't like too awful. I mean, I did have some friends. I want to say 2 or 3 specifically that I hung out with up until like 4th grade, or after 4th grade, I should say, after I left. That was okay. It was fine. Not a super hardcore religion. I could vibe with it, honestly. Except I still don't agree with the morals and values of Christianity in itself, just because it's just disgusting. So, from what I can remember, nothing was really forced onto you. You did have to go to church, though. You had to meet a certain amount of, like, church visits a year. Really weird. I don't know if your tuition went up, if you didn't, but, yeah, we had church attendance. That's weird. Like, every single day, or I should say every single Monday, we should say, Taylor, here, did you go to church? No. Okay, or yes, and they ask you which day, and they check it off, and their little attendance thing, and I'm like, that's weird. We also had, like, memory work. Like, we used to have to memorize, like, Bible verses, which I thought was kind of weird. Not really, I guess, but you had to memorize, and if you didn't memorize, and then you had to stay inside for recess, and it was just dumb. I don't know. Religion was really pushed hard there. I do remember we were not allowed to have in the library, like the school library, Harry Potter, anything having to do with witches or wizards or magic. No magic, anything. Like, I remember one time specifically, like, those little Scholastic, like, book orders that you can get? Like, they hand them out in school, and you can order books off of those. Well, I remember specifically one time one of my teachers, I don't know if it was my 3rd grade or my 4th grade teacher, saying, okay, any book is okay to order on here except this one, that's magic tricks. You have to cross that out. You are not allowed to get that book. And I'm like, well, how are you going to know if we get it anyways? We order it and it gets sent to our house. Like, how would you know? So whatever. Whatever. So they were really like hardcore on that. It's whatever. And then a lot of my issues and this is even with religion, just a lot of my issues with that school came about in like 4th grade, when my parents thought that I was like behaving badly, and they took me to my doctor and they said I had ADD, and then my 4th grade teacher was like singling me out and like making me sit in the front of the class and was really mean to me if I didn't do my homework. Didn't help me at all. Just always singling me out. And then I remember one time specifically, I didn't do my homework. So she pulled me out of class and made me sit somewhere by myself and do my homework. Like, she didn't offer to help me. You know, she wasn't nice. So I don't know why she had to do that. My parents were all for like me taking like medicine and all this kind of stuff. And my teacher was saying, you have to take it. And then she would even ask me questions like, did you take your medicine today, Taylor? I'm like, that's not your business. And so now I'm saying that's not your business because I didn't know any better at 9 years old. But yeah, that was Lutheran school. Lutheran school is stupid. And then I went to Catholic school. Guys, that's a whole different ball game. I didn't know anything about I can't speak today. Catholicism. I don't know anything about it still. I don't care. I'm not Catholic. You know, I don't agree with their practices. One particular is reconciliation, where you have to sit with the priest and like confess your sins, like you're talking to him and he's playing God almost. That's something that really freaked me out. Like, I didn't know what it was. I was like 10. I was forced to do it. And I went and I talked to the priest, and I remember crying. It was so scary. And the priest wasn't scary. He was really nice. He was a really nice guy. But I just remember it was just really scary and traumatizing, and it's something I never experienced before. So instead of people telling me what it was, then they just made me do it. And they said, this is what you have to do, so go do it. Like, okay, whatever. And I think I did it like twice total, maybe 3 times. I don't honestly remember how many times, but there was a point where I said, you want to know what? I'm not Catholic. I'm not doing this. They still made me go to church with them because we used to do it during school hours. I don't know why, but we used to do it during school hours. So they still made me go into the church with them because I was Christian. So they were like, okay, well, you're Christian, so you can sit there at least and read your Bible. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll do that. A lot of Bible reading, I'll tell you that. Ugh. Do I remember any of it? No. I don't. No. But it was just so weird how that was pushed onto me. And I don't know. Nobody wanted to explain to me the Catholic way of life, as I call it. You know, we went to that school. Nobody liked me up until I was probably like 12. So I went there when I was 10. Nobody liked me until I was like 12. My family never fit in. This school is also the place where my little sisters go now. And my little sisters are 9 and 10. I have another little sister who's 22. She's not that much younger than me. But when she was going there, one of the teachers called her a hoochie mama. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. One of the teachers called her a hoochie mama because she was wearing leggings. And leggings were a big thing at the time. They still are, but leggings are pants. You know, that's just how they are. And the teacher called her a hoochie mama. And when my sister came home from school, I was in high school when this happened. And she was in 8th grade. So my parents went to the principal right away and said, your employee called my daughter a hoochie mama. And you want to know what the fucking teacher said? She said, well, I don't know what a hoochie mama means. This is what my parents used to call somebody who dressed a little scandy. I had no idea what a hoochie mama really was. Teacher didn't get in trouble, but the reason why the teacher didn't get in trouble was because the teacher was related to the principal, just like everybody else in that whole fucking school was. Y'all are all fucking related somehow. And there are a few of you that I do like, so don't think that this is, geared towards you. Like, I feel like if I still talk to you, or I'm nice to you, then you know that this is not geared towards you. This is more geared just towards the school itself. Like, I'm cool with a lot of people I still went to, middle school with, because I went to high school with them. So you know who you are. Don't think this is you at all. I'm not, yeah. Okay. I made my point. But, I'm really pissed that my little sister is actually going to Catholic school right now, but my parents don't care. They're not my kids. So, you know, my mom gets mad at me because, like, my little sisters want to do the Hail Mary when we're eating dinner. Like, right before we eat dinner, they pray, and the only prayer that they know is, like, the Hail Mary, the Our Father, and I refuse to do it, and I'll just sit there and eat while they're praying. My mom just, like, gives me this dirty look, and I'm like, you expect me to pray? No. So, you know, she doesn't like that. But, whatever. So then when I was in 8th grade, actually, we put it off a year. But when I was in 8th grade, my parents made me do confirmation classes. Because in Lutheran school, you get confirmed when you're like in 8th grade, 13. And in Catholic school, it's not until you're like 16, 17, I think. I'm not 100% sure. How would I know? You know what I mean? I hit the mic. Oops. But so I was going to confirmation classes after school hours. It was horrible. But because I was already in private school, I didn't have to do it for 2 years. I only did it for 1 year. The requirement is 2 years, but because I was still in a private school, they were like, okay, she can get by with doing it for 1 year. So I sat there after school, I think it was once or twice a week, at St. Paul's, because that's where we were still members of churches. Like, we remember that church. I'd sit there with other kids who were from the public schools, and I knew all the answers to all the questions, like all like the religious questions, because I was still in private school. And then they were like, why don't you just go through confirmation classes at your school? Why are you still here? Like, the kids were asking me that. And I'm like, well, because that's Catholic school, and this is, you know, I'm not Catholic. And they're like, oh, okay. But then, yeah, that was really confusing, too, because I'm learning, like, 2 religions at once. I'm getting confused. Yeah. I haven't been back to that church since St. Paul's. I haven't been back since for anything. There are some people who, one person, I should say one person, who messaged me not too long ago, maybe it was like a year ago, and said, oh, have you been back to St. Paul's all recently? And I'm like, bro, I haven't thought about that school since I left. Which was when I was 9. That was 10. How old am I? 23. I can't mental math. Hold on. 23. Whatever, how many years ago. You want to know? I'm not going to embarrass myself. However many years ago that was. I haven't thought about it since. Which is whatever. I don't care. But yeah. So my religious journey didn't really stop there, though. It stopped for a while. I went to high school, and I was still a little oblivious to other things. Like, all I knew was private school life and how to be a good kid, which helped me. Like, being a good kid helped me in the long run. Like, my teachers really liked me, that I know of. But when I went to high school, I was meeting all these people who were like, yeah, no, I don't believe in that crap. Let's start learning about this. Well, I'll teach you about other religions, like Hinduism and Buddhism and all of these other religions, Judaism and Islam. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I started learning a lot more. And then I also started learning about like Greek mythology, which obviously is mythology now, but people used to believe it. So it used to be a religion, obviously, because people used to believe in the gods and all that kind of stuff. But I've learned a lot more over the years, and, you know, from being only knowing anything about Christianity to realizing that Judaism and Islam and Christianity all go hand in hand together, in a way. In a way, I'm not saying they're similar. They kind of are, but they're not at the same time. They all have their different things. They all believe different things. However, the Old Testament and stuff in the Quran and stuff in the Bible, they all like intertwined somehow. And I haven't really got into it on my own yet, and I will eventually, because I'm really interested in learning about this stuff. Just I'm not interested in practicing it. But so high school went on. I was learning new things. I decided that I didn't know what I believed, and that was just that. Then came my 20s, where we all know that I have been a sack of shit. I will call myself out for it. A depressed sack of shit. That's just how it is. But what I thought would help me, and I thought this all on my own. Nobody pressured me into doing this at all. I thought maybe I should go to church again. Really, I did. I thought that I should go to church again. My family, not my mom and my dad and my sister, but my extended family is very religious. And I thought, well, I can go to church with my aunt and my cousins. My cousin is a pastor, and so they all go to the same church. And I thought I could go with them, and I'll know people, and I'll be comfortable instead of me going back to St. Paul's and not maybe knowing anybody, which I probably would know people, but I wouldn't have to sit by myself, all this kind of stuff. And then I could ask questions if I wanted to. So I did that for a really long time. I was going to church with my aunt and my cousins, and then COVID hit, and then I stopped going to church. So like March 2020 is when I kind of stopped going to church because all the churches were like closing down and all this kind of stuff, and I didn't go anywhere for a while. And then I met Brendan. We all know Brendan. I met him, and his mom is religious. He was kind of religious, so he actually went to church with me a few times. He was not opposed to it. I asked him if he wanted to go. I wasn't more like a, hey, we're going to church type of thing. I asked him if he wanted to go, and I kind of filled him in on how their church is a little bit different than the ones that he has probably experienced, which it is. And I don't really want to get into much detail about it because I don't want people thinking that I'm making fun of them or making fun of their religion or their beliefs, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to make fun of people or say that they're wrong. I'm just solely, talking about my experience and why I chose not to do that anymore. So honestly, I'm going to put it out there right now. If there are people who are watching this, even if you're my family, I respect everybody's religion. I respect everybody's viewpoints as long as they don't hurt people. I will respect you. Please do the same for me. I don't think my views hurt anybody. It might hurt your feelings, but that's not doing any physical pain or any emotional damage. So just keep everything respectful. Family, if you're watching this, just keep everything nice, because I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. You don't need to tell me that I'm wrong either. Because I'm not. You're not. People believe what they have to believe, and that's great. But anyways, so Brendan and I went to church, and I distinctly remember Brendan getting offended by one of the sermons, and that's not me calling him out either. That is me, like, this is a key core memory of mine that made me realize something. And he got offended, and he said, I almost walked out. And I said, you almost walked out? Why? And he explained to me, because it was something about LGBTQ being unholy and Black Lives Matter movement being unholy, talking about how they don't vote because, you shouldn't be choosing between people who are both evil, something like that, along the lines of that. And I'm definitely making it sound worse than it probably was. I apologize. I don't really remember. This was a year and a half ago. So, right? Yeah, a year and a half ago. This is a year and a half ago. So, give me some credit. And he explained that to me, and I said, you're right, that sucks. We don't have to come back. And we didn't. And I haven't either. Thanks to B, I realized that, like, churches will say that stuff, and people agree. And I'm like, what? That's not cool. That's not very, what would Jesus do of you? You know what I mean? I am all for people falling in love with whoever that is. I'm all for equality of race and gender and all this kind of stuff. And that's not what I was getting when I was going to church. I realized that I don't believe that. I don't believe that marriage is just a union between a man and a woman. I believe that anybody can be happy, and, we need to make sure that people are happy and protect them, because there are people out there who are just absolutely horrible and will hurt people. Obviously, we know this. I mean, the instance I'm thinking about in my head where that black gentleman was running and people shot him. Right? What was that? You know what I'm talking about, right? That guy, yes. I'm sorry. I'm not good with names. I'm absolutely horrible with names, but I remember the instance. And that shit's horrible, and it's happening all the time, and people don't realize that when this Black Lives Matter movement is going on, it's not unholy. You just don't like it because they're making a statement. They're getting their point out there, and you don't like it. That's not unholy. That people are doing what they have to do to make what needs to be done known. Educate yourself. I'm sorry, that's just my thing, is that educate yourself. When Brendan and I were looking into getting married, I was looking at places to, get married. And I was like, well, maybe we could get married at a church. Like, okay, that'd be kind of inexpensive. It wasn't, first of all. Getting married at a church is expensive. I'm not paying $700 for a space plus an organist. Like, I don't want an organist. Like, ew. But I also don't believe your rules and your laws, and saying that I have to go to marriage counseling and I have to believe that marriage is a thing between you and God. It's not just because you love each other. I don't do that, no. It's just, I don't agree. Simple as that. I don't agree. And that's what really started just my whole, like, fuck Christianity and, like, going down the rabbit hole of that. Fuck Christianity, fuck it all, honestly. I mean, it's so dumb how we as a society will use our religion as a way to make poor excuses for things, like saying that, oh, I'm a Christian, I don't believe that abortion is a good thing, or a man and a man can't be married, and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, where does it say that in the Bible? Because it doesn't. And your beliefs are hurting people. That's my thing. Your beliefs are hurting people, and that's not cool with me. I remember having a conversation with another family member of mine on Facebook. She was sharing about how transgender people are pedophiles, and I said, you're wrong. I said, you are absolutely 100% wrong. And she didn't say anything to me at that point, but when she was talking about abortion, she tried to use something against me, and I thought that was hilarious. She was talking about how, Democrats want it so that you can have an abortion up until the baby's born. And I'm like, nobody wants that. Nobody's going to do that. You're dumb. And I wrote her, like, a really long message. I shouldn't say a message. It was a comment. And her stupid Christian friends were, like, sad reacting it. And, I'm like, whatever. It's fine. But, because my sister and I are adopted, she used that and said, if it wasn't for adoption, I wouldn't have my two beautiful whatever. I don't really want to, pinpoint who it was. But, I'm like, adoption is not always the answer. Luckily, my sister and I were very lucky, and we were born and adopted and given a good life. But you can't just tell somebody who gets pregnant that, oh, you can just give your baby up for adoption if you don't want to keep it. You can't afford to have a kid. Oh, perfect. Get it, give it up for adoption. It's not that easy. It really isn't that easy. My sister and I are very lucky. I was the first one adopted, and they met my birth mom. It was a whole, like, set up adoption thing. And I'll get into the story about me being adopted, like, later on in the podcast when I run out of things to talk about. But that was all set up. There's a lot of times where you can give your baby up for adoption and that baby's sitting in foster care for a really long time. And then they could not get adopted and all this kind of stuff. it's not your only option. The same thing is too, you're gonna tell a pregnant lady that she has to give her baby up for adoption, but she still has to go through the pregnancy and the whole traumatic experience of giving birth and then not taking her child home. That's selfish. Don't tell people to do that. Don't. If I hear people say that to somebody, or if I see it on Facebook, I definitely say, no, you don't get to say that. You don't get to talk to somebody like that. You don't get to say, just give it up for adoption. It's not that easy. I should know. I know my birth mom, and I know how not easy it was for her to give me and my sister up for adoption. It's not easy. Knock it off. Stop using your religious beliefs to be a jackass, because it literally is hurting people. Hurts me. I don't like when people are like, I'll pray for you. Don't pray for me. Your prayers are going to be wasted, because I am going to hell, and I don't care. Sounds like a party. I'll meet you there, bitches. All right. Anyways, I'm going to cut it off there. Hopefully my point was made. I think I still have determined that I am an atheist, not agnostic or in any way. Yeah, I determined that today by just talking about it. So thank you for listening to me rant. And sorry if my eyes were kind of all over the place. I can't see in these sunglasses, but I really wanted to show them off because they're a trip. All right, guys. If you want to, remember, you can send me your sad girl / sad boy stories on my email that I always have linked in the bio. You know, not bio. Yeah, bio, description, whatever it's called. So do that. And then if you haven't yet, just make sure to like and subscribe, because we're growing. We are growing pretty rapidly. My goal is, 200 subscribers by the end of the year. Right now we're at 172, I think, and it's March. So that's a pretty good growth, I think. I think last year's goal was 100, to get 150 by the end of the year, which we reached. I am getting that tattoo sometime soon. I'm not going to tell you guys when, but I know when. But I'm getting that tattoo soon that I promised you guys I was going to get. So stay tuned for that video as well. But anyways, thank you for watching. My name is Tay Hegeman, and I am the sad girl next door.
I'ma tell you little lies and they sound like this. I'm fine. It's an oversimplification, cause I'm really contemplating. I just haven't picked the day yet. I'm fine. Just don't ask me to elaborate, cause I don't really know what I'm supposed to say. I'm fine. I'm fine.